Yes, maybe.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Spark Coaching Live Sessions. As per usual, I've got my wonderful coaches with me, Kylie Denton and Bram LeGroux. Welcome to the stage, coaches.
Hi, good to be back.
We are back and better than ever. And our special guest today, Joanna Dettl. Welcome to the stage.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, Joanna, we had the privilege of meeting you briefly backstage, but you're actually Kylie's guest. So I'll, without further ado, invite Kylie to give us a bit of background about your good self, and looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you on, Joanna. We started talking about this about 3 months ago, and I knew that we absolutely wanted you on this LinkedIn Live. You're a health and wellbeing coach. You have a passion for transformation, change through positive psychology. That's something Bram and I are passionate about. But you really do focus a lot around that stress and burnout and some of the lifestyle diseases. Your principal training was through Well Coaches, which is actually an affiliate of the Harvard Medical School and McLean Teaching Hospital, and you hold a certificate in lifestyle medicine coaching obtained through the American College of Lifestyle Medicine as well. So I love your background. I love where you've studied. And for me, as a leadership and executive coach, I just don't think we focus on this enough, especially in business. I coach a lot of executives. I coach a lot of business owners. And I find that, many of them focus on their business, but not actually themselves. Why is that? Why should they actually focus on themselves first?
Well, I think a lot of people shy away from it because they see it as, first, potentially a weakness, and B, it's easier to cut some time out of the schedule by cutting the time around yourself, isn't it? Like, if you're stretched, where are you going to cut it? You're going to cut it from your own schedule before you cut it from anything else. And that is all too easy. And why do people do that? Is it a disconnect with their values? Is it a misconception that they don't have time? They don't have time to look after themselves? What are your ideas as leadership coaches?
You don't want to let people down. Like, whether it be your direct employees, your constituents, your clients. So, that's where my head goes, is I don't want to let people that have put their faith in me down. So I guess that's where I shave it. From.
But I would challenge you, Arthur. Are you not letting them down if you're not showing up in a really good space and being able to be an energized leader with vitality, creativity? And if you're not showing self-compassion, are you able to show compassion to those that you're leading?
I'm not going to get into that argument with you. You're absolutely spot on. I'm just saying that's what happens.
Oh, no, I was just being provocative.
And look, I have actually taken recently affirmative action on that front because you're right. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I was, I had a catch up with Kylie and Bram, and I wasn't in a great place. The filter was off. I was tired. I was exhausted, and I just had to change a few things. Like I removed myself out of. I'm actually working from home. I've got the bike there. They're not my books. They're my kids' school books. So don't make me look intelligent, right? So throwing them out yet. But I've actually said, right, I'm going to work from home. My team, they're good. Like they've had all the support and training and even from a distance, that will still continue. But I don't need to be in their space. For a full day. I'll come in and make a cameo appearance, have a laugh, have a joke, take someone out for a coffee versus just sitting in front of a laptop all day, answering calls and doing emails. I mean, I can do that from home really at the end of the day. But that was also allowed me to do. I can still do the school drop-offs in the morning. I'm not having to get up at 4:30 to go to the gym. I can actually sleep in. I've got a bit of extra sleep the last couple of weeks. Oh, my God, heaven forbid you get more sleep. I mean, it changes your world. Just an extra hour a morning. I mean, I feel.
Arthur, you look so different, man. Good on you.
10,000 times better. So I'm getting up at 5:30. This morning, got up at 2 a.m. to do a few things, but this morning excluded. But at 5:30 a.m. rise, 6 a.m. rise, go to the gym. I don't have to be at my desk at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I just come get ready,
And,
and world's changed.
Sleep is in the media nearly every day now, isn't it? It's we are all really aware that we're not getting enough sleep, but what are we doing about it? So those tweaks that you've made in your life in the last couple of weeks, you're starting to take it seriously. You've seen a good connection after doing it. You realize that you're more energized, you're more present. But how do you keep doing it? How do you hold on to that new habit?
Well, I mean, I have a few ideas, but I don't want to bore everyone. But it just works. It just works. I'm pretty good habitually. I mean, the fact that I was habitually going at 4:30 says a lot. I'm sure I'll be happy to habitually go at 6 a.m. instead and reap the rewards. So that's
new consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just rewiring, the thinking, and that's made a world of difference for me. Just allowing myself just to have my own space. I can decompress, I can focus, and look, and my team can grow as well. Like they can
empower
just things and use their autonomy and just check in if they need me, versus just because I'm there, they just feel that they need to ask me everything all the time. Well, you don't. You can make a decision. Like, go make a decision. And if you need support, let me know. But I just found that constantly people coming in because I'm there. So
I love it.
Well done on making the changes.
Yeah,
thanks. Yeah. Oh, my wife works from home as well, so there's some other perks too. So we get to have a coffee together.
Yeah, a bit more quality time, isn't it? I think that's what happens is we feel that we have to do this and we have to do that. And yes, there's so many more demands, but I know we had our team meeting this morning and I said to the team, nothing more can go in my calendar this week. I am already over the limit. And if more goes in, then I have to work extra, right? Which means that I might have to cut my walk short, Joanna, like you're talking about, or I might have to stay up a little bit later. So for me, I think what's really important is how do we have those boundaries, one, but also how do we communicate it, right? For me, like if I didn't say to my team, no more this week, do not put another thing in the calendar, they might have gone, oh, I reckon she'll do it if I just pop it in there without her noticing.
It's expectation, isn't it, Kylie? I mean, most leadership issues come down to expectation. And we need to set expectation around our self-care as well. And what you are valuing, other people will start to value too. It will become part of the culture of the organization that actually you don't have to do additional hours. You don't have to squeeze all this in. You don't have to push yourself towards burnout. But if it's the culture, it's hard to push against that tide. So it needs to come from the top.
Yeah, I think the comment before around consistency in habit and expectations and communication. I mean, we all in varying degrees lead teams, whether they be operational, sales. And I was just having a conversation with my team. It's around the consistency around, the activity. And, as it's hard to deal with the ebbs and flows of, customer requests and all that type of stuff. But you must, have a goal where you're consistently output so that that gear change, that going from second gear to fourth is that you're jogging and then all of a sudden you've got to sprint. And then you got to sprint and you got to jog. Whereas you just want to kind of smoothly operate your flow. And that takes a lot of discipline and communication, because you've got people booking appointments for you, which is structured, but then you've got the unanticipated flow coming back from clients. So really achieving those boundaries, I think that you mentioned, Kylie, is really important, because ultimately I just feel that where people get lost is basically they go at walk speed to then run sprint speed over and over and over and over again. And that's what creates the loss of controls. Feel that you're out of control. Then the outcomes come in, the stress, the anxiety. I forgot this. So It's a tough one because there's so many different businesses and so many different circumstances with resourcing. But I think, if you're in that service industry, mastering that, I think, is really important, so that you've got those boundaries so that you can do all the stuff around it. Whereas if you're just out of control, like we said at the start, the thing that's going to stop is you doing stuff for you, because you're trying to attend to this out of control flow.
Well, it's fashionable to be busy, right? Ask any Australian and like any professional that you're working with, like, hey, how are you going? Oh, I'm busy, and it's like a good thing. So I'm interested to hear, Joanna, what's your take on this whole notion of busyness and and what you do?
Well, I'm just looking for a statistic for you, but I don't know if you're familiar with Randstad, the HR company. Yeah. So they have recently done a survey of the leaders that they work with, and they've discovered that 80% of them identified that health and well-being has to be at the top of their priority list. But conversely, 90% of that same workforce is reporting a decline in their well-being. Yeah. So on one hand, we're giving it lip service, aren't we? We're saying, we need to be less busy, it's important, but then we're not doing anything about it. And I think I would absolutely say everyone knows that they want to be healthy and well. The disconnect occurs between what you want and reality, and how to create that reality. And there is a lot of experts in the field. Right at this moment, there couldn't be any more health and wellbeing experts, but we have to become the expert of ourselves and be running our own show around it, opposed to someone telling us what we need to do. And to answer your question, Bram, what do we do about that? It's hard work. Well, maybe not hard work. Work is required of self. And setting, I suppose, in my kind of coaching, what I do is setting a vision of what you would like your life to be like. What would it feel like to have good health and well-being? And then, like most coaching, start working towards that. But until you set that vision, it's just a dream, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Or did I skirt around it a bit?
No. I think I always remember what you're talking about there, Joanna, is, James Clear, the Atomic Habits. And he talks about, yes, you've got to have a plan. Yes, you've got to have a goal. But the most important thing you've all got to have is the identity. And that is, who do I want to become, right? So I prioritize my health, and I know Arthur does, and I know Bram does, and I'm absolutely sure you would, Joanna, being a health and wellness coach. However, for me, therefore, that means that exercise is a priority. Sleep is a priority. My nutrition is a priority in order for me to set those habits in place. So, we know that habits can take up to 66 days to embed, yet people want it like that, right? Oh, this is too hard after a week, or this is too hard after a fortnight. So I think first step is really going, who do you want to be? And that might be, I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better mum. I want to have more energy. I want to feel good. I want to feel clear. I want to feel energized. I want to feel like I'm a leader that's making an impact. It's that identity. First determine that. And then you work through, okay, what's my goal? What's my actions, so that I can really bring that to life? What do you think, Bram?
We also have a staggering percentage of the community facing lifestyle diseases. And how do we combat that? It is about taking charge and pulling back, not pushing yourself towards burnout. It's very hard if you have a diagnosis of pre-diabetes to implement those changes by yourself. That's where a health and wellbeing coach is very helpful, because you're pushing against a lot of conflicting ideas in the community and within your own personal structure. You need to have the right people around you. and be setting the right vision and the steps for yourself to change. And that's to your point. You need to make it a priority, have good support, be really clear about what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, and setting realistic goals as well, and goals that are self-compassionate. Not I'm going to lose 10 kilos in 3 weeks and I'm going to flog myself to death, and then I'm also going to try and do an 80-week work week. I mean, we all know what's going to happen.
That's cool.
Einstein to the outcome of that.
Yeah,
It's got to be healthy still, right?
Look, all humor aside, I think there's nothing more a people leader, a business owner, a manager, wants more than the well-being and safety of their people, right? If you don't, you should be in that position. A lot of more things are getting reported now, obviously, captured data-wise over time. I mean, burnout has probably been around for decades and decades and decades. It's just that we're seeing more evidence of it now through data. Obviously, the health back then, you'd go to the pub.
Absentee rates. Do you see that?
You go to the pub, absentee rate, all that type of stuff. So there's all these vices that came along with it. And so going to your point around absenteeism, I think there's an interesting point around the support you spoke about. There's nothing more needed than the support of your employer, the support of a business partner, the support of your team, right? So that's number one. I think, looking at the shift, and I'm just going to, talk openly, it's the trust that I think gets in the way sometimes, because in my experience, I have found that people that genuinely have goals to look after themselves, well, I have a vested interest in that, because the more they look after themselves, the more output they're going to generate at work. I mean, I've got a vested interest. But there's also people that don't, abide by the same ethos as the ones that genuinely pursue a better self to contribute more. It's saying, these are my boundaries and that's it, and I don't really want to contribute anymore. And there's also that audience as well. And I just find that where as to get the trust of an employer, and this is probably, we've all had a situation as an employer, as a manager, where you feel that symbiotic relationship is maybe one-sided. And so where I'm getting to now is, there was an interesting article this morning where the work from home position for some larger companies and organizations is now changing. They're actually now calling it to come back in.
Yes.
What's happening there?
Productivity, is it not?
Well, there's data that says they're more productive at home, and yet they're calling them back in. So
Control.
Control.
What is it? Have they found that maybe the data is probably not as accurate, maybe, or like it's an interesting to see that.
Yeah, for me, right, what I often find when we're getting people to call back in to get into offices, and it's happening here in Brisbane too, is that the leaders have not set clear expectations, have not got clear boundaries. They don't have clear rules around how we're going to do it. How does it meet the business need? And I feel like they feel out of control themselves. So therefore, how do I control? You all just need to come back into the office. Whereas I'm absolutely not a believer in that. I think hybrid workforces work very well. People work very well in that environment if there are some boundaries, expectations, rules, measures, communication channels, and all of that open. So I think things like that, when that happens, Arthur, I think it's because the leaders lost control.
I personally disagree with that. I think
Tell
I
me,
want to come in there.
Tell
I knew this was
Tell me.
we got to keep the spark alive here.
How dare you, bro?
I think if it's just a matter of setting the boundaries, I don't think that's the case. Let's be honest, certain people haven't got the discipline to do what the employers demand them to do, or request them to do, or need them to do. I think if they haven't been trained that way, you cannot expect a loose gun in a very, very flexible environment to perform well without supervision. Supervision actually can help him, and by the way, feedback on in the workplace can actually direct them in a lot better and shape the habits that they haven't got yet. So I think, especially with a very young with a very young workforce, that is the challenge at times, because they're so easily distracted that Netflix there, Facebook there, TikTok there, it's not really giving the best of them unless they have some people around them that actually say, hey, how are you going with that thing? Show me how you're going with it. Is there anything else that I can do? Like, just it shapes them really in a better, I think, performer at work. That's my personal view.
And maybe highlighting the value of it too to them. Like, people that really are valuing this hybrid workforce, aren't they? Because it is actually giving them better well-being, because they've got cut down on commute time. They've got more fly in their schedule to be involved in family activities or do some exercise. So how do we keep them valuing that, but still being disciplined to get their work done?
Yes. And that
was number one question, Arthur.
That was the point I was kind of getting to. It's actually good to see. And it's inequitable just to say, well, you guys are going to come in and you guys stay home. So it's either you all come in or you're. And look, we're not a very light hybrid. So, we say Fridays work from home, 4 days in the office, so we give that kind of flexibility. There is advantages being around, people that, colleagues, senior colleagues, deliver. It creates a momentum. It creates an enthusiasm. You can get a little bit solo effect at home on your own. Zoom is good, but it's not the same. In the human connection, we're all, I think, technology has ramped up so quickly, and we haven't evolved that quickly to be, that emotionally connected through a screen. We still need that touch, you know what I mean? That presence, So it's an interesting one, and it's an interesting move, because the article actually wasn't supporting hybrid either. It was just full come back to work, which I think is a bit too far. I think there's got to be a nice little balance there somewhere. A 4 and 1, pretty good. 3 and 2, maybe for some roles.
Well, what's the business need, really, is what I always say. What's the business need? What do they need?
Complete work from home for me is a bit extreme. That's just my thoughts.
Can I throw a bit of
what we've learned from it too? What have we learned from this hybrid? What have been the positives? It's as a psychologist, Bram, it's very easy for people to focus on the negative. But what have been the really good things that have come out of this, not just for the employee, but for the business as well? And there would be. Arthur's leaving.
He's getting on his
I'm going to get my cycle in. Just bear with me for 5 minutes.
He's getting on his bike, literally.
Look, there's no doubt the benefits. I'm just product. I just told you about it at the start. And it doesn't have to be set. Maybe it can be for like periods. Like you can go certain periods of the year. It kind of makes more sense to have more people working from home. Maybe some periods they can work full time. I think exploring those combinations. Now that we've done it, now that we've got setups at home, now that people are used to it, why can't it be for the next 3 months we're all in the office together? Because we need to rebuild. It's the start of the financial year. We need a fast start. Everyone needs to be together. We need to get on top of it. We need to go. Okay, cool. Next quarter, we can go back to the hybrid model. I mean, it doesn't have to be the same. I don't think it can be alternating. Yeah, I think there's definite benefits for sure.
I agree. And, and even what you're saying, Bram, I absolutely agree with you there. I'm not saying set the expectations and leave them. As leaders, we have to make sure that we are constantly providing feedback, we're communicating, we're giving them the one-on-ones, making sure they're on track, are they off track, and helping them guide. So that's what I'm talking about there, not just to set and forget, there you go. Sure. Because as leaders, we shouldn't do that, right? We shouldn't do that. One of the things that, and I know we're getting close to time, but I might just leave with 2 tips, I think. And Joanna, what I'd really love for you to share is what are your recommendations to leaders as well? Because I know that you have some recommendations for leaders to think about with health and wellbeing. But for me, one of the tips that I do for myself as a busy business owner is I have a pop-up on my screen every couple of days that asks me, how am I going? how's my mind, how's my exercise, how's my nutrition, how's my sleep, all of that. So it's a pop-up, it's a 5-minute reminder for me to check in on myself. The second thing is every single month, each of my team member get coaching from me. And if they bring a health and wellbeing issue, then that's what we talk about, because exactly what you said, Arthur, if I can help them with what they're struggling with outside of work, it's absolutely going to improve their engagement, their productivity, their well-being, their happiness, and all of that. And I'm all for that as a leader. So they're my 2 tips, is helping them and helping me, right?
Love it.
Look, I'm not sure if that was an invitation for Joanna, but I just might add to that, as well, is the other side is, respect. So people need to respect the employer's efforts to assist them achieve their personal goals. And it really comes back down to responsibility, accountability, and it's, and to, what's the word? Contribute, equally to that equation, and that's really important. That's what I think people really need to nail, is have a bit of self regulation to respect the fact that your employer trusts you to give you that time and do the right thing, and it all works. And when you don't do the right thing, then that's my version. Yeah.
Echo that. Joanna, what are your final words that you'd like to share with people to make sure that they live a healthier and probably more productive life too, and a happier life?
Yeah. Well, to keep it in the context of the leadership that we're talking about, is maybe just recognizing that you're quick to perceive that you don't have enough time, and what it would really mean to have better well-being. And also maybe for leaders to think about, they don't always have these skills. It is a skill set and they have it in them. We all innately have it in us to have better health, but sometimes we need an external person to help us untangle what is really going on, because we're too connected. We're too close to the problem. And I think that that's a problem with all coaching, but, when we coach someone, it's because they're too connected to the problem, isn't it? We help them untangle it. And I would say that it would be great if leaders really had a look at their own health and well-being and what it really meant.
Yeah, I love it.
Great.
What about you, Bram?
Great job, Kylie. Great invitation to have Joanna. We actually had a couple of good presenters in this capacity. I think we had Michael O'Sullivan recently as well, a few months back.
Yeah.
And he had some more dietary type of, value adds in terms of maintaining the energy level.
Biochemical, yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff. Some really interesting space. And just to close, I think the better we master ourselves, the better we can help others take more notice. I have a saying as well, like, busy people are happy people. And so, if their output is high and they're busy and they're successful, then they're happy because they're enjoying their work. And the more, effort made in the areas that you spoke about, Joanna, can lead to that. So the equation is there. The variables are there. It's just making them all kind of come together. But great conversation today. Thank you so much, Joanna, for your insights, your expertise, and your opinion. Thank you very much. Is there any
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Is there, if anyone wanted to access your material, do you have a website? Do you have a?
I do. It's indigo.com. Easy to find. Indigo Coaching. What am I saying? I don't even know my name of my business. But I'm on LinkedIn. We found there. Yeah.
Beautiful. Make sure you drop it in the comments.
Okay, I will do that.
No worries.
Looks like we're about to say the same thing, but we got it. All good.
Yeah, it's all coming. Now, Kylie, we're seeing you in Melbourne soon, right?
I know. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm going to catch up with. I'm presenting down there for a full day for Colonial First State. I can't wait to do that. and I'm having a catch up with some real special people, which includes you. And I'm also going to see Brahm in South Australia as well. Can't wait, doing a whole national roadshow. So,
6 to 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
on
6 till
Monday.
8 o'clock. 6 till 8 o'clock on the 11th. And this is just another thing is for October and November. This is another tip for everyone. October and November, I am flat out traveling around the country, lots of really exciting stuff for the business. So every single day, a pop-up comes up on my reminder in my calendar saying, how are you feeling today? Right? It's just a reminder because I know for the next 2 months I'm going to be out of control. Excited though. So that's another thing I do. It's these little things I think that people make that you can make a difference with.
Yeah, the mindfulness around it.
Mindfulness, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to see you guys. I'm really, really looking forward to coming to Melbourne. Make sure you bring the nice weather. Actually, I'll bring the nice weather. Actually,
I was about to say.
I'll bring it. I'll pack it in my suitcase.
I'm coming from Brisbane, so I'm leaving that one.
Yeah. You're going to Melbourne, Melbourne.
I'll pop it in the suitcase with me, okay?
All right, done. So, Kylie, I'll see you in a few weeks, and Brahma will see you in a few weeks too. So, looking forward to it. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining.
See you then.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thanks very much for having me.
That's okay. Sorry, Bram, you got caught. I tried to get you to
We're still live.
Oh, we're still live and Arthur's left. Let's go, everyone. Thank you.
That's
so
it.
good to see you.